Far beyond the bustling core worlds of the Galactic Confederation lies the desolate planet Carlix, a remote outpost world perched on the edge of known space. This bleak, rocky world, scarred by constant storms and bathed in cold sunlight, hosts a critical human-operated deep space monitoring station. It's here that the story begins. At the heart of the monitoring array, a team of human operators vigilantly scans the far reaches of the galaxy for any signs of threats or anomalies. Among them is Lieutenant Kalen Voss, a seasoned human officer, with a reputation for sharp intuition and cool-headed decisiveness. Kalen's sharp eyes catch a flicker on the sensor, a faint, encrypted signal pulsing from a region of space known to be perilous and largely unexplored. The signal is unlike anything previously recorded. It carries the unmistakable markers of distress, but cloaked in advanced alien encryption protocols that defy immediate analysis. As the monitoring team works feverishly to decode the message, tension mounts. The signal originates from a species unknown to galactic records, trapped within a hostile nebula swirling with radiation storms and thick asteroid fields. The fragmented message is chilling, a desperate plea for help against an approaching enemy, fleet described only as the Annihilators, a name that sends chills down the spines of those who hear it. The aliens speak of a ruthless force intent on total destruction, one that has already decimated multiple worlds and shows no mercy. The Galactic Council, upon receiving the decrypted distress call, faces a difficult decision. Sending aid into such a dangerous sector risks lives and resources, especially since the aliens are unregistered and their true motives are unknown. However, the moral imperative to respond is overwhelming. The task is assigned to the elite Deathworlders fleet, a legendary human military unit renowned throughout the galaxy for their unmatched survival skills and combat expertise. The Deathworlders hail from some of the deadliest planets known, where only the toughest survive against lethal wildlife and brutal climates. Their resilience and ruthless effectiveness make them the perfect candidates for this perilous mission. Fleet. Commander Kalen Voss is assigned to lead the operation. Known for his unconventional tactics and calm leadership under pressure, Kalen immediately begins assembling his fleet, which includes battle cruisers, stealth fighters, and specialized survival troops hardened by life on the deadliest worlds. His second-in-command, Valrix, a tall, sleek alien with a skeptical demeanor, questions the wisdom of rushing into what could be a trap. Valrix's wariness reflects the broader uncertainty within the fleet. As preparations accelerate, Kalen reviews the scant intelligence on the Annihilators. Reports describe a shadowy enemy force of overwhelming firepower, rumored to be relics of an ancient galactic war, long thought extinct. Their technology is alien and frighteningly efficient, far beyond contemporary designs. This knowledge only heightens the sense of urgency and danger. Despite the doubts and fears, the fleet's orders are clear. Mobilize immediately and race toward the source of the distress signal. The signal's authenticity and the stakes involved leave no room for hesitation. With a last glance at the flickering holographic map displaying the enemy fleet's projected course, Kalen gives the command, "Prepare for hyperspace jump." We don't have the luxury of waiting. The fleet's engines roar to life, and as the ships vanish into the star-streaked corridor of hyperspace, the question lingers. Was the distress signal genuine, or is it a trap set by the Annihilators to lure the Deathworlders into a deadly ambush? Only time will tell. The call to action is clear. The Deathworlders fleet, humanity's most formidable and battle-hardened force, begins its rapid mobilization. From various harsh planets scattered throughout the Galactic Confederation's outer rim, ships and personnel converge toward the designated staging area. These worlds, battered by violent storms, extreme radiation, or savage predators, forge warriors who thrive in environments others would consider death traps. The Deathworlders are not just soldiers. They are survivors molded by the harshest conditions, a living testament to human adaptability and grit. Fleet Commander Kalen Voss takes command of this sprawling assembly. His flagship, the ironclad Dominion, is a massive battlecruiser equipped with the latest combat technology, augmented by cutting-edge survival systems tailored to the deadliest environments. Surrounding his ship are smaller strike vessels, stealth, fighters and transport ships carrying elite Deathworlder squads. These teams include specialists skilled in guerrilla warfare, engineering, and reconnaissance, each selected for their proven ability to overcome impossible odds. The atmosphere aboard the ironclad Dominion is a mix of determination and apprehension. Kalen's second-in-command Valrix continues to voice his doubts. As a member of an alien species with a more cautious and calculated approach to warfare, Valrix questions the wisdom of rushing headlong into a situation with so many unknowns. He worries about the possibility of deception and the overwhelming strength of the enemy fleet reported in intercepted intelligence. However, Kalen's conviction is unwavering. Hesitation here could cost countless lives, including those of the desperate aliens sending the SOS. Meanwhile, the fleet's intelligence officers are working overtime to gather every scrap of information about the enemy force, dubbed the Annihilators. What little is known paints a grim picture, a mechanized, relentless war machine capable of obliterating entire planets with surgical precision. Their origins are shrouded in mystery, believed to be remnants of a forgotten galactic conflict, long thought buried in history. This revelation raises the stakes exponentially. Not only is the fleet racing to save innocent lives, but they may also be confronting a threat that could endanger the entire galaxy. As the fleet finalizes preparations, Kalen calls a briefing with his senior officers. He stresses the importance of flexibility, innovation, and relentless resolve. Standard tactics will not suffice against an enemy unlike any they have faced before. The Deathworlders' greatest strength lies in their ability to adapt quickly to lethal environments and unexpected threats, a skill born of surviving Deathworlds that would kill unprepared beings within hours. Their ruggedness, combined with human creativity and daring, gives them a fighting chance. To boost morale, Kalen personally visits the various crews, reminding them of the gravity of their mission but also the pride they share as Deathworlders. He speaks not only of duty but of honor, saving lives in a sector others have abandoned. The soldiers respond with renewed vigor, their eyes burning with determination. As the fleet finalizes its jump coordinates, a final piece of troubling intelligence emerges. A covert intercept suggests the distress signal may have been manipulated, or even partially fabricated. The possibility of a trap looms large, but in the end, Kalen orders the fleet forward. There is no turning back now. The ships align on the jump coordinates, engines humming with barely restrained power. The crew brace themselves as hyperspace drives engage, and the fleet plunges into the streaking void of hyperspace. Every mind aboard knows the mission ahead is fraught with peril, but every one of them trusts the Deathworlders' legacy, survival, against impossible odds. As the stars blur into lines, the question lingers like a shadow. Will the fleet arrive in time to save the alien survivors, or are they rushing headlong into a deadly trap crafted by an unstoppable enemy? After a tense jump through hyperspace, the Deathworlders' fleet emerges from the shimmering corridor into the grim reality awaiting them near the alien system. The sight that greets Fleet Commander Kalen Voss and his crew is far worse than anticipated. The once vibrant cluster of planets and moons home to the mysterious aliens who sent the distress call is now a shattered wasteland. Flames lick at the edges of scorched surfaces, orbital defenses are destroyed or burning, and silent hulks of ruined ships drift lifelessly in space. The devastation is a harsh testament to the ferocity and relentlessness of the enemy, the feared Annihilators. The alien survivors, scattered and desperate, are a shadow of their former civilization. Kalen orders immediate deployment of rescue and recovery teams. These Deathworlders, trained in operating under the harshest conditions, are uniquely equipped to handle the volatile environment and the chaos of battle still simmering in the system. Smaller boarding parties deploy to cripple damaged enemy craft and aid survivors stranded on ruined outposts. Despite the destruction, the aliens' gratitude toward the Deathworlders is palpable. Their emissary, a weary yet proud figure named Silerin, welcomes the fleet cautiously but with hope. Silerin explains how their species had long tried to avoid conflict, remaining isolated in the nebula's dangerous depths. But the Annihilators, a war machine from a bygone era, had awakened and swept through their worlds with devastating efficiency. Siluran's people managed to send out only the single distress signal before losing most of their communication networks and fleets. Kalen listens carefully, realizing that the Annihilators are unlike any enemy the galaxy has faced in recent memory. The war machine's technology is ancient but terrifyingly advanced. Their ships are heavily armored with energy shields, capable of self-repair, and armed with weapons that disintegrate entire sections of a planet's surface in seconds. The Deathworlders' own weapons and tactics will be severely tested. As Kalen assesses the situation, the fleet is suddenly attacked by scouting elements of the Annihilators, probing the Deathworlders' position. These quick, brutal skirmishes highlight the enemy's tactical ruthlessness and superior technology. However, the Deathworlders' adaptability and tactical ingenuity begin to turn the tide in these smaller engagements. Kalen coordinates counterattacks with surgical precision, maximizing the fleet's strengths and exploiting even the smallest enemy vulnerabilities. In the midst of battle, Siluran entrusts Kalen with a critical piece of their heritage, a mysterious artifact believed to hold the key to neutralizing the war machine's energy core. This relic, a fusion of organic and technological elements, pulses with an eerie light and is unlike anything the Deathworlders' scientists have ever seen. Siluran explains that their people have long guarded its secrets, but lacked the means to wield it in battle. Kalen senses the artifact could shift the balance, but wielding its power will require careful study and potentially dangerous field tests. Meanwhile, the enemy fleet remains a looming threat, growing stronger and more aggressive by the hour. Every moment spent preparing is a moment the Annihilators use to tighten their grip on the system. The human fleet's rescue and defense operations continue, but it becomes clear that a prolonged stalemate is impossible. The Annihilators' overwhelming numbers and near indestructible war machines demand a bold strategy, one that will require Kalen to gamble everything on a daring counterattack. The survivors, the Deathworlders, and the fleet brace for the next phase of the battle, one that will determine not only the fate of this alien species, but potentially the future balance of power in the galaxy itself. With the alien survivors' mysterious artifact in hand and the Annihilators tightening their grip on the system, Fleet Commander Kalen Voss knows that waiting or defensive postures will only lead to total annihilation. The Deathworlders' reputation was forged on daring, innovation, and relentless offense, and now is the time to prove it once again. Kalen calls an emergency war council on the ironclad Dominion, gathering his senior officers and specialists, including the skeptical but fiercely loyal Valrix. The artifact, pulsating with a strange energy, is placed on the tactical table, its glow illuminating the grim faces around it. The alien scientists accompanying the fleet work alongside human engineers to decipher its secrets and initial findings hint that the artifact can disrupt the Annihilators' power core, the heart of their unstoppable war machines. The plan that emerges is audacious. Using the fleet's combined firepower and the element of surprise, the Deathworlders will launch a rapid, multi-pronged strike aimed at isolating and crippling key enemy vessels. The ultimate goal? Create an opening for a boarding party to infiltrate the flagship war machine and deploy the artifact's disabling energy directly at its core. This counterattack requires flawless coordination and split-second timing. Kalen's orders ripple through the fleet with precision. Strike groups prepare to move in unison, supported by stealth fighters that will harass and confuse the enemy's sensors and targeting systems. The Deathworlders' soldiers, bred for harsh environments and unconventional warfare, stand ready to engage in brutal close-quarters combat once the boarding phase begins. As the fleet moves into position, Valrix voices his concerns, questioning the risks of such a direct assault against an enemy whose technology is so far advanced. Kalen respects his caution, but counters with hard-earned wisdom. The Annihilators' strength lies in their overwhelming numbers and firepower, but they lack the adaptability and cunning of the Deathworlders. By striking unpredictably and exploiting their vulnerabilities, they can level the battlefield. The battle begins with a series of sudden strikes. Stealth fighters dart through enemy lines, sowing chaos and drawing fire away from the main assault groups. Massive capital ships of the Deathworlders unleash barrages that target the shields and weapon systems of the war machines. The clash is brutal and unrelenting. Explosions light up space and the vacuum echoes with silent destruction. Despite superior enemy technology, the Deathworlders' relentless assault starts to pay off. The Annihilator's ships, designed for overwhelming force rather than flexibility, struggle to respond effectively to the guerrilla-style tactics. Several key enemy vessels are disabled or forced to retreat. The tide of the battle begins to shift. However, the cost is high. Several Deathworlder ships are lost, their crews sacrificing everything to protect the boarding teams and maintain pressure on the enemy. Kalen watches from the bridge, the weight of command heavy on his shoulders, but his resolve remains unbroken. With the enemy flagship isolated, the boarding party is launched. An elite team of Deathworlder commandos led personally by Kalen and accompanied by Valrix. Their mission: infiltrate the war machine, navigate its deadly defenses, and use the artifact to shut down its core. The fleet's gunships provide cover fire as the boarding craft speed toward the massive enemy vessel. As they breach its hull, alarms blare inside the war machine. The final and most dangerous phase of the battle has begun. Kalen knows that failure is not an option. The survival of the alien species, the success of the Deathworlders, and potentially, the safety of the entire galaxy depend on what happens next. The boarding mission marks the most perilous and critical phase of the operation. Fleet Commander Kalen Voss leads an elite squad of Deathworlder commandos aboard the enemy flagship, a colossal war machine pulsing with dark, unnatural energy. The airlock seals hiss shut behind them as their boarding craft docks, and the team steps into an alien interior, unlike anything they have encountered. The ship's corridors are cold and metallic, lined with pulsing conduits that seem alive, reacting to their presence with low hums and faint vibrations. The Annihilator's technology is a chilling fusion of organic and mechanical components, a biomechanical nightmare designed to repair itself and thwart intruders. Automated defenses spring to life instantly. Energy turrets snap onto targets, floors shift to trap the intruders, and drones swarm like mechanical wasps. Kalen's squad moves with disciplined precision, using stealth, advanced hacking tools, and brute force to disable traps and neutralize patrols. Every step deeper into the ship amplifies the tension. The walls pulse with an eerie glow, and the oppressive atmosphere weighs on the team's resolve. Yet their training on deadly deathworlds, where every environment is hostile, steels their nerves. As they navigate toward the ship's core, they discover the true horror of the Annihilator's design. The core chamber is a massive, pulsating heart of alien energy, surrounded by intricate machinery that merges biological tissue with advanced technology. The artifact entrusted by Sileran begins to resonate in Kalen's hands, its light intensifying as they approach the core. Suddenly, the flagship's AI defense system activates, projecting a terrifying holographic guardian, a colossal, serpent-like entity made of shifting energy and metal. It taunts the boarding party with chilling alien words that translate to warnings and threats. The battle with this guardian becomes a brutal test of skill, teamwork, and willpower. The Deathworlders must rely on their adaptability and ingenuity to outmaneuver the entity, exploiting its mechanical and organic weaknesses. Meanwhile, back in orbit, the fleet continues to fend off waves of Annihilator reinforcements attempting to break the boarding party's hold. Communications between Kalen's team and the fleet become sporadic as interference and enemy jamming intensify. Every second counts. Despite these challenges, Kalen remains focused on the mission's objective: to deploy the artifact into the core and shut down the flagship's power source. With a combination of hacking expertise provided by their tech, specialist in Kalen's strategic command, the team maneuvers the artifact into position. The artifact emits a blinding pulse of energy that begins to destabilize the core's fusion. As the core's energy fluctuates wildly, the flagship shudders, alarms blaring throughout the ship. The holographic guardian falters, weakening with every passing moment. The boarding party uses this opportunity to escape back toward their extraction point, racing against the collapsing systems. Just as they reach their ship, the flagship begins a catastrophic failure sequence. Explosions rock the corridors behind them as the core destabilizes, threatening to tear the vessel apart. The boarding craft launches, narrowly escaping the explosion that consumes the war machine. Back on the ironclad Dominion, cheers erupt across the fleet's command bridge. The flagship of the Annihilators is destroyed, their command and control crippled, and the surviving enemy forces retreat in disarray. Kalen and his team, though battered and exhausted, have achieved what many believed impossible. But the mission's success brings new questions. Who created the Annihilators, and could there be more lurking in the shadows of the galaxy? The Deathworlders' war is far from over. The destruction of the Annihilators' flagship marks a decisive victory for the Deathworlders' fleet, yet it is only the beginning of a larger, more complex chapter. As the shockwaves from the flagship's explosion ripple through the devastated alien system, the surviving enemy vessels scatter into the void, their coordination shattered and morale broken. For the first time in this brutal campaign, hope kindles among the alien survivors and the human fleet alike. Fleet Commander Kalen Voss stands on the bridge of the ironclad Dominion, observing the quiet that follows the storm. Relief mingles with exhaustion among the crew, yet Kalen knows that victory always comes with its own burdens. The alien survivors, still fragile and shaken, begin rebuilding efforts with Deathworlder assistance. Medical teams deploy to treat, the wounded engineers start repairs on the vital infrastructure, and the fleet sets up a secure perimeter against any possible return of hostile forces. Silerin, the alien emissary, expresses deep gratitude. He reveals more about the Annihilators' origins, explaining that they were created in a forgotten era as weapons of absolute destruction, designed to exterminate threats with ruthless efficiency. Their resurgence now is a terrifying echo of an ancient galactic war, one that many hoped would remain buried in history. This revelation sends a chill through the Deathworlders' command. If the Annihilators were awakened once, they might be awakened elsewhere. Scientific teams aboard the fleet begin examining the mysterious artifact more closely. It's a fusion of organic and technological elements, crafted by the alien species as a last resort weapon. Its power to disrupt the Annihilator's core offers a glimmer of hope, but also raises concerns. Could such technology be reverse-engineered by enemies? What other remnants of this ancient conflict might still be out there? While the immediate threat seems neutralized, intelligence officers uncover disturbing new data. Scattered signals intercepted across the galaxy hint at the possible existence of other war machines dormant and waiting to be unleashed. Worse, factions unknown may be seeking to harness the power of the Annihilators for their own purposes, powerful enough to upset the fragile balance of galactic politics and plunge entire sectors into chaos. Kalen convenes a new council, this time including representatives from allied species and the alien survivors. Together, they begin planning a new strategy, not only to defend against potential new outbreaks of Annihilator forces, but to hunt down and dismantle these ancient weapons before they can be used again. The Deathworlders, with their unmatched resilience and combat experience, are designated as the spearhead of this effort. Amid these developments, Kalen reflects on the personal cost of the campaign. The fleet suffered casualties, some of them heroic. Bonds forged in battle run deep, and the shared experience of surviving Deathworld conditions continues to define the Deathworlders' spirit. Kalen honors those lost in the fight, vowing their sacrifice will not be in vain. Meanwhile, Valrix, once skeptical of Kalen's bold tactics, now stands fully committed to the cause. The two officers forge a stronger alliance, blending human ingenuity with alien precision. Their combined leadership will be crucial in the uncertain battles ahead. As the fleet prepares to depart the recovered system, Kalen gazes out into the stars with a mixture of determination and caution. The galaxy, vast and mysterious, holds countless secrets and threats. The Deathworlders' mission has expanded beyond rescuing a single species. They are now guardians against an ancient menace reborn, protectors standing ready to face whatever darkness lurks beyond. The story closes on a powerful note of vigilance and hope. The distress signal was a warning, a summons not just for aid, but for a new era of vigilance. The Deathworlders answered, but their war is far from over. Somewhere, in the shadows of the galaxy, new dangers stir. and the true scale of the conflict has yet to reveal itself.